Thank you so much, sir. It has been lively listening to you and what teachers can do, whether it is a biology class or an English class, how they can educate the children so that they know right from the beginning what is good and how to cope up with the food and environment and other things. Okay. Thank you so much. We have questions now.
Yeah.
I'll call the first question. Can farming be introduced as one of the vocational subjects?
I think we should. I think certainly we should. That's what I was trying to say. As an enterprise, food production, food consumption, food processing, all these provides you a lot of opportunities. I think 6th to 9th, we should have this course. 2 advantages. One, you can take it up as a livelihood. Even if you don't take it as livelihood, you can improvise your own life. Even if you don't improvise your life, tomorrow if you become a bureaucrat or a decision maker, you can take a better decision. So we cannot escape from food and farming in our life. So it should be part of the curriculum, certainly. And it need not be an additional course. It can be integrated into the courses. We tried that actually. What we tried is, in Madhya Pradesh and in Telangana, what we tried is to map out the regular course curriculum and then try to change bits of it so that people can understand. So for example, in mathematics, instead of saying, calculate the train speed, we actually made some of the calculations saying if you have 1 acre of plant and if this is the spacing, how many plants you need? And if this is your water, what is the pump capacity you need? So simple modifications like that can help children to understand about all these issues. So it can be integrated into your courses or it can be a separate vocational course. Yeah, second question.
The second question is, how do we dissolve the great barrier between the farmer and an urban?
So that's exactly the point I was trying to say. You need to understand your ecological footprints and your economic footprint. If you are paying something, how much is going to the farmer? If you understand this, if you make right choices, farmers also can make a right choice. Second, when it becomes certain issues where farmer is unable to impact on the policy change, many of the urbanites can do that. Say a ban on chemical pesticides which are outdated. We all murmur, yeah, they are using indiscriminately pesticide. That point you need to talk to government, not to the farmer. If pesticides are available in the market, if farmers are using and then they are recommending those things, we need to talk to the government, not to the farmer, right? So there actually our role comes in. So as a consumer, are we aware consumer? And then are we making right choices and right role are we playing is an important issue. Yeah, next please.
Okay, third question is, do you believe wastage of food could be one of the reasons for the farmers' death in India?
Not exactly food waste. In fact, in India, see, globally food waste is 1%. In India is much lesser, in fact, I would say. And global food waste is actually after processing. In India, food waste is before processing. That's why the losses are borne by the farmer. In the Western world, the losses are borne by the consumer. So that's the only variance. Otherwise, food wastage is common. And there are ways of reducing this food wastage also, which can be done. There are a number of opportunities which we can do. And what as an urbanite we need to do is, from our side, how do we recycle many of the food waste is something which is very important. So instead of throwing out, can we convert it into compost and then put it back as a nutrients is very important. The moment you combine it with other non-recyclable waste, then it becomes a great junk which can never be processed. So if you can separate out food waste from other things, and if the food waste can be recycled at the household level or at the most at a community level, don't go beyond that. So if government can take a decision that we will take only plastic and other waste, but the bio waste should be recycled locally, much of the problem will get resolved. I think that's what we need to look into. Yeah, next.
The next question is, how important it is for the children to know the farmer in the entire food chain?
Very, very critical and very important. See, I always see as an ethical question, where do I get my food? It's my mother who cooks it or my father who cooks it. After that, it's a farmer who produces it. See, we talk about Dharti Mata, we talk about mother, but in between there's a farmer. who actually converts the natural resources into the food which you eat. So I consider farmer next to my mother. We all talk about patriotism, nationality and all, but from there in between there is a farmer who actually converts all these natural resources into food and then feeds you. So if you don't care for those who feed you, you are not caring for your parents also. So that's where it's a very important thing you should know about. Yeah.
Okay, the last question is, why are organic foods more expensive?
See, organic food is not expensive, I would say. Two issues you need to remember. Chemical food is cheaper because it is subsidized. And a bag of urea, farmer gets a subsidy of 2,500 rupees. Fertilizer subsidy in this country is 75,000 crores. So your food is subsidized there. Whereas in organic, farmers are doing on their own. Second, when the less number of farmers does it and the less number of consumers comes it, transaction costs are very high. We need to understand that. Third, we also need to understand there is a fair value which food should get. Why should food be always cheaper? Have you ever asked why your shirt should be, say, 2,000 rupees? When the same shirt is available at 500 rupees over there? We never ask. But when it comes to the food, we all ask. So you should worry about what part of it goes to the farmer, not about how much you are paying, is what I would say. Say, as long as it is about 5% of your expenditure, making it 6% or 7% of your, if it is healthy for you and if it helps thousands of people to make their living, you should not worry about it. Who should be worried about it? It's the people who where their food consumption becomes 70% of their expenditure, they should be worried about. But who are they? They are the ones who are actually producing the food. So they are worried about how much they can get from their food production. So I would suggest all urbanites, don't worry about food prices being increased. Worry about who is actually getting share in that and whether that food is beneficial to you or not. Yeah, that's what I would say. Any more questions?
Okay. I think I'll ask the audience 2 more questions we can take. We have time. Anyone of you want to ask a question, please unmute yourself and then you can ask directly to Ramanjan sir. Anyone?
So let me take one of the which is in the chat.
Okay, sir, I have a question.
Yes, I have a question.
Oh, I'm unable to hear properly. Yeah, please.
Yes, I have a question. My question is that only India is so-called agriculture-based country. Even though the farmers, those who are selling their productions, market to the government too, but they are not getting price enough, which is not enough to survive their life. As you have showed, the 5,000 or 6,000 is the average income of the farmers. Why should not the government is taking the initiative to uplift these kind of the agriculture persons, those who are engaged? That is actually the government process. Even the common man is ready to pay, but the actual government MSP, maximum supportive price, is very less. In that case, these are not getting the enough price or enough money to survive with their family. So this is I think major challenge by the government. So I would like to know what steps should the government take and how they can make policy. Yes, please.
See, 60% of the people depend on agriculture. All your course curriculum, 60% should be about agriculture, right?
Yes.
Isn't it? At least 20% of your curriculum is about agriculture and food. Why? See, all of us eat food. All of us feel 50% of the people's livelihoods are dependent on agriculture. So either you are serving agriculture or you are doing agriculture, isn't it? Indirectly, we are all part of that entire supply chain. So why are we not having that in part of our curriculum? In the last 70 years, why that discussion never happened? Why there should be separate agriculture colleges? Separate agriculture colleges like you have a Ph.D. colleges, right? To train some people to become specialists in that. But regular curriculum also should have these issues, right? We never discussed about it. See, public policy changes are not happening because they serve a minimalist need of getting votes. And all of us are worried only about that part. And we are not building a kind of understanding what needs to be done in this country if 60% people done, and we have so many acres of land. What is our future? We are never worried about. So whenever we say about organic farming, one question comes up is saying, if yield falls, how are we going to meet our food security need? Do you know we produce about 290 million tons of food? All of us, if we have 3 meals a day, we need only about 72 million tons of food. So we produce every year food which is sufficient for 3 more years. That's the food we are producing it. But what are we doing? 50% of it rots in the warehouses because there is no warehouse facilities over there. And 45% of the children are malnutrition. Why? Because they don't have access to that food. So problems lies somewhere and we try to find solutions somewhere. So we are getting a solution-driven approach rather than a problem-solving approach. So that's where actually the role of education system comes in. Education should be a problem-solving approach. We get into a prescriptive approach, we get into a solution-driven approach. We tell how this solution will solve the problem. We don't look into, this is the problem, how do you diagnose the problem, and then how solutions can work. So that's a fundamental shift in the education system which is required. Yeah.
Yes. Any more questions?
Good afternoon, sir. This is Ganesh from an organization called Chrysalis from Chennai.
Yeah.
What is your take on, we've been hearing that a lot of farmers are going for cash crops rather than looking at the basic crops, maybe because of the shorter lifespan of cultivating this and also export possibilities. Is that a threat in the long term for our country?
See, I would say 95% of the products are bought in the market, right? So they're all cash crops only. See, this notion of cash crops, paddy, 90% of the paddy is bought in the market. So if it is bought in the market, it's a cash crop only, right? It is not self-consumed. Okay. So this is nothing like that. So non-food crops, shift towards non-food crops should be worrisome. But non-food crops, what is the major non-food crop? It's only cotton. It's only cotton. And then cotton is for the fiber needs. So at the national level or a state level or at a village level, we are not actually having a proper production plan. See, lack of planning is what is leading to that. Say, I'll take an example from the college education. We always do this example. See, have we ever made an attempt to look at how many engineers we need in this country? Or how many doctors we need in this country? How many agriculture scientists we need in this country? And accordingly, have we ever planned to have the education system? We never did that. So we pushed whatever goes on. So everybody got into engineering as if engineering has become the new intermediate now. So from there you do an MBA, or from there you do an agriculture, or from there you do something else. That's what has become. Why that happened? Because priorities are not set properly. Same thing is happening with the food sector also. Priorities are not set properly. So certain crops gets prices, certain crops doesn't get price, certain crops have more risk, certain crops doesn't have risk. So people make their own choice based on the information they have. So while people are shifting towards cotton has the highest farmer suicides also. Rice is more stable, there are no suicides, there is no incomes also. So people make choices based on their own orientation towards them. You cannot find fault with the farmers because that's the ecosystem in which they are. So how we create a system where they can take a better choice is something we need to figure out. Yeah.
Thank you.